to start recording again. Sorry. I wanted to say that the time remaining for the meeting was almost over. It kicked me out. Okay, I was saying, in my personal experience, I have worked at both state schools and private schools. Let me tell you that private schools, the fact of being private, they pay for special resources. For instance, not all schools work with Santillana. When you are a teacher, Santillana gives you like a ton of material. Like literally, they give you everything you need. They give you, like literally everything. Um, in my experience with Chester Palmer, I need to say that in terms of English, we work with same a private company. The name of the company is Richmond. It's well known at private schools, and the resources we are given, Jesus, are I like the best. Trust me when I tell you that in Colombia there is a huge, enormous difference between private schools and state schools. It shouldn't be like that. I agree with Mabel. Maybe that's happening because most politicians here steal our money, the money that should be dedicated to education. Some others think education might not be the most important thing. Some others think economy and stuff like that. And I'm really sorry. I don't want to talk about politics, but this guy, I like Jesus, our president. He's just a special person. I like like really. Okay, but before, well, I don't want to talk about that. Let's continue. Obligation, necessity, and permission. Okay, and here is where I'm going to talk about something controversial. Can for permission, and may for permission. All right. Obligation, necessity, and permission. Must, have to, and can. Must, have to, and can. When we talked about obligation, we need to say that must is the one. When we talked about necessity, we need to say that have to is the one we need to use. And when we talked about, let me draw something different. And when we talked about permission, then we will have to use can. But some of you are going to say, teacher, what about this? Let me write it for you. What about this word? What about this modal verb? What about may? Not the month, the modal verb. What about may? Okay. Well, before we continue, hello Diana. Before we continue, let me tell you that may is commonly used for permission. Actually, may is the one that's supposed to be used for that. However, according to some grammar stuff related to the evolution of language, can is also used, but in a different way and mostly informally. Okay. Exercise number 3. Work in a group. Discuss which of these things are important for a good education. Give each one a score from 1 to 5. 5 means very important, and 1 means it is not important or useless. Okay? I would like you to use the annotate tool and try to give each one of these options we've got here a score. Try to do it. I want everybody to participate.
Teacher, but have to is not an obligation also. Like you have to.
Yeah. I'm going to talk about that in a moment here. Use the annotate tool. Sorry, did I say that? Yep. Regular exams, use of the latest technology, lots of homework, and enjoyment of learning. I will give that one a 5. I think, I think you should enjoy what you learn. If not, you are going to end up hating whatever you're learning. Studying for many hours a day, small classes, well-qualified teachers. Oof, yeah, that's a 5. Regular sport exercise, strict rules. Who knows that? You're going to be surprised. We're going to analyze 2 of the best countries in terms of education. Okay, somebody says regular exams are not that important. I need to be honest. I need to say that I think that exams should not be implemented, or if they should be implemented, they should be at the end, okay, in order to measure the progress the students have. And you will see why. Use of the latest technology. Okay, number 4, small classes. Number 4, lots of homework. Lisa is like, no homework. She was trying to draw a 1, but okay. I'm going to draw it for you, Luisa. I'm going to draw a 1 for you. I know you want that 1 in front. Okay, now Lisa Fernanda says no, it's 2.
No, a tú. No.
Okay, Jesus.
A tú, mister, a tú.
Okay, studying for many hours a day, 2. Okay. Oof. Okay, I'm going to read again. So regular exams, 2. My personal opinion, I think that it's better not to have regular exams. They must exist, but maybe at the end, right? In order to prove students have learned something, in order for you to show what you've learned at the end of something, but they shouldn't be implemented regularly. Use of latest technology, number 4. What do you think about that one? I would like you to, number 4. Do you agree with it? Do you agree with that number? Should it be a 1? Should it be a 5? Should it be a 3? Or 4 is okay for you? What do you think about that?
Teacher, I think that important use the technology for example, this case that we are living and lockdown, and for that reason, I think that is important.
Okay, at this moment, I would say that it should be a 5. Yeah, it should be a 5. Not a 4, but a 5. But I think in our daily basis, a 3 or a 4 is okay. Okay, I don't know if you remember, but I used the projector, which was useful. The computer, for example, and the apps. I don't know if you remember the apps we were using. It should be implemented, but not excessively. All right. Lisa Fernanda said number 2, lots of homework. What do you think about that? Number 2, not very important, not important at all. Do you agree with her?
Yes.
Somebody said yes. Who was it? Sorry, Mariana.
Me, Mariana.
Okay, you hate homework? You think it should
Yes, I hate. Yes, yes. Because we
Mister.
stayed in the school 9 hours. 9 hours.
Yes.
And we do the homework. No.
You will see something
Mister, voy a
surprising.
decirlo en español.
Say it, say it.
Porque a veces las tareas no ayudan tanto, porque, por ejemplo, usted me manda una tarea de inglés, yo puedo hacerlo en el traductor y que aprendo ahí una caca, ¿sí? Entonces la idea es hacer todo en el colegio porque ya no nos permiten utilizar el celular ni nada y pues, o sea, lo hacemos
Y
como por voluntad propia, ¿ya?
se supone que tienen que evaluar nuestro proceso ahí ustedes viéndonos a nosotros en el colegio, no en la casa. Y uno paga para ir al colegio a hacer todo el aprendizaje.
Exacto.
Y en la casa uno va a descansar y ya se mama 9 horas allá y no ponen nada y lo mandan a la casa.
Ladies, you are going to be surprised at something we're going to read about Shanghai's education. I think as a teacher, I think that homework needs to be assigned, but in a way for students to learn, to reinforce what they have just learned in a class. Okay, I think that an hour of homework a day is more than enough. I agree with Mariana and Luisa. I think an hour of homework is more than enough. Okay, lots of homework means that you're going to spend more than 2 or 3 hours doing different stuff, science, etc., and etc., and etc., and different things. I think an hour or less than an hour a day is more than enough for a student.
Es como ahora, ¿quién les garantiza que estamos aprendiendo con el montón de tareas que están mandando? Eso no es garantizar nuestro aprendizaje.
Well, that's why we're using this. Not all of schools are using this, but Mariana, I mean, as a teacher, I need to say that we need to trust our students, especially in the way they should be doing things, okay? There is not a way for us to see if you're truly learning or not, because you are not going to be like in a real classroom. But we need to trust our students. Not all of the teachers understand this. Not all our students understand the same thing. But I need to say that let's talk about, once again, state schools. What about these teachers and students who do not have access to these kind of platforms and tools? Okay, they have to do something. Okay, it's kind of an obligation for them. Principals say, hey, you need to send students this amount of worksheet in order to cover topics, blah, blah, blah. They have to do it. Sometimes it's not like they want to, but they have to. They must do it. Okay, studying, sorry, an enjoyment of learning. What do you, I was the one who wrote that answer. Number 5, what do you think about it? Is it very important to enjoy what you're learning?
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay. Why do you think it's important?
Porque uno hace un aprendizaje significativo para la vida.
In English?
I don't know why the word aprendizaje significativo.
Significant learning.
Okay, that for the life.
Well, it's true. It's true. Why not? What about the rest of you, Mabel? I see 2 Mabels here. I don't know why. Can you see them? Mabel, Priscilla, I would like to listen to you, dear. You there? What do you think about that? Do you think it is important to enjoy what you learn? Yes? No? Maybe? Pris, Mabel? The ghost is there? No, they are not there. Sorry, what? Mabel, yes, no. One of these days. Maybe today, maybe tomorrow. Maybe at 8.
Sorry, teacher, what is the...
Okay. Okay. Do you think, pay attention, do you think it's important to enjoy what you learn?
Yes,
And
it's very
why?
important because, bueno, lo voy a decir un poquito en español.
No,
Algunos profesores
some teachers
tienen la capacidad de enseñarnos con diferentes métodos y nosotros nos divertimos, pero hay otros que, Dios mío, o sea, prácticamente nos aburrimos y no aprendemos nada.
Okay, how do you say capacidades, abilities, right? Abilities. Some teachers have the ability to be dynamic. That's the word, to be dynamic, to teach, entertain the classes. Some others don't. And let me tell you, sometimes it's difficult, right? Let me tell you that the fact of teaching something in a very funny way is not easy at all, right? You need to be a clown, and the fact of being a clown is not that like an advantage for you as a teacher. Sometimes, all right? Sometimes we can propose like different activities, games. I like games. I like to use different platforms. I don't know if you remember yesterday, I enjoyed the Tuesday Slide Song activity. And sometimes it's part of using the latest technology and continue learning, you as a student and as a teacher too. But well, it all depends. It all depends. The truth is that, Valentina, I'm going to mute you for a second. The truth is that some teachers were not prepared for being a teacher. In Colombia, there are, trust me, thousands of engineers and people who studied everything but something that's not related to education. And that's sometimes why maybe some of them are not like really good at teaching something. So that's why maybe some teachers that are not teachers struggle with teaching a dynamic class or implementing different activities. That's also a Colombian reality. Okay, oh my God, today's reading. Okay, give me a second. Exercise number 4. Sorry, I got it. Exercise is necessary. Okay. Uh, read the article about 2 different education systems. Which of the things in exercise 3 are mentioned? Oh my God, today's Jesus, you're going to love it. I'm going to start reading the first part for you, okay? And I would like you to continue at home with your physical book. And after this, we're going to answer some questions. Trust me, this reading is really interesting. You're going to love it. Top of the class. Lessons from Finland and Shanghai. An international study called PISA, Program of International Assessment, tests 500,000 students from over 60 countries in maths, science, and reading. In the last few years, Finland and Shanghai have achieved the highest grades in the tests. But what is it about their education system that produces these great results? Sorry, Mayra, I didn't want to laugh, but these great results, okay? Do we see that both countries, the way they see education is totally different. I want you to read this at home, and I'm going to ask you a question using the chat section. What are the main differences be in both? Okay, I want you to read. I want you to use the chat section and I want you to answer that, right? What are the main differences between Finland and Shanghai in terms of education, the way they perceive education? Start reading. Come on, I'm going to mute. I need to stop talking.
Y lo otro que universidad anterior, adelantaron la universidad también. Que hace la televisión con. ¿Sí?
Okay, I think you have all finished reading this. Okay, really interesting comments about today's reading. Now I would like to listen to you. Which do you prefer? Shanghai's system of education or Finland's system of education? Which do you think is the best? Come on, I want you to speak, to speak, to speak. Everybody, I want you to speak. Okay, I want you to speak. Which do you prefer? Finland's system of education or Shanghai's system of education? Tell me. I want to see you. I want to hear you. Okay. That's the only way you to reply. Once again, come on, I need you to speak. Which do you prefer? Once again, Finland's system of education or Shanghai's one? Come on, need you to speak.
Teacher, I prefer Finland education
Okay, can you tell me why?
because in Finland, the children don't have to go to school. Sorry. Because in Finland, there are no after school activities and only have to do a maximum of half an hour's homework a day.
Okay,
But in Shanghai, many, many students study for 16 hours a day.
yes, they. Somebody said, I think it was Valentina. They work extremely hard. Well, I think there were two people who said the same. They work extremely hard, extremely. I mean, 16 hours. That's why I was telling Mariana and Lisa Fernanda Olu to stop complaining because these students, Jesus, they do study. I mean, 9 hours is pretty much half of the time they dedicate to the education. But apart from the differences that they have, why do you think both strategies work? Because in Finland, they are like flexible. They give students like time. They give them like the freedom to go to school the way they want to go to school. They don't have to wear uniforms. Um, let's say education if it's a free pathway to choose. While in Shanghai, they have exams. They have a lot of preparation. They have a lot of things and both of them work, all right, because the two of the countries are like the biggest or the best in terms of education according to these tests. So why do you think this is happening? Why do you think flexibility works, and why do you think demanding the students like a lot also works? And which is the best? Let me see this section. Mariana, okay, Finland. In that country, they take more into account. Sorry, they take more into account what? Into account the development of the students as a person than as an apprentice. Okay, Shanghai, they take more into account the professional life of the student or the person than the social life of those students. Yeah, but once again, the question is if they're using like different ways to teach students and their methodologies are, let's say, totally different because they are, why are both of them the best? I mean, both are working.
I think the best is Finland, and because has a system more flexible and relaxing environment and attention for the teachers and the attention in the enjoyment of learning.
Okay, okay, that was good. Anybody else? What about Aurora? Aurora, where? Ah, no, no, come on. Where is Aurora? I know. Yes, Aurora is there. Aurora, what do you think about Finland and Shanghai? What about you, Priscilla? Oh my God, Priscilla. Priscilla is one of these students who's usually activating and turning on her camera today. She's hidden in the darkness of Zoom. Okay. What do you think about this? This is controversial, especially for the two of you, Priscilla and Aurora. Aurora is also a teacher. I know you do know she is a teacher. And Priscilla, she's got her daughters, sorry. And I think this is something really important for those of you. I would like to listen to your opinion. Which is best? Okay, more. Let me read the chat section. Priscilla, today is not good. Today is not good, but wait. I couldn't. Oh, you mean the camera system or something? The internet connection? Aurora, the students are willing to work extremely hard to prepare for the exams. Um, hmm, I should say that even though if both systems work in a really good way, Finland definitely is the best one. And I will take into account somebody's, I think it was Mariana's, somebody's answer. Yes, Finland's care a little bit more about your personality and who you really are, rather than preparing yourself for a professional life or aspect that's going to happen maybe in the future, and which might not be maybe part of your preferences as a person. Okay, I also know that Finland is one of the happiest countries in the world. Maybe it's thanks to the fact that people can do pretty much and study what they really want. Okay, they develop their skills they think they have, and the ones that they want. Okay, which is something important too. I'm going to erase all of these drawings. Uh, Sorry.
Teacher, I think that the education in Finland and education in Shanghai are two different ways to arrange the goals for the person. Yes, in Finland, uh, they use like you study because you want the way that you want. If you want, yes, for love, for saying this way. And in Shanghai is a way to pressure, and you have
Yeah,
to study for pass your exam, for be a
successful. Yeah, successful.
successful person. And I have for example, in my case, I had the opportunity to study one semester in Brazil, and the education is like not the same, but it's like in Finland,
Finland.
and Finland. In Brazil, the people goes to the school, to the university, in sandals and shorts, and yes, it's so relaxed. And they, for example, they finish the school and wait for 2 years more or less, and they think very well what will they do in the future, what is the career that they want to study, and yes, they study because they wanted. Yes, and in Colombia it's more you finish your school and you have to study something because
You need to do something in
you
life.
need to be
Yeah.
yes, and so when I was in the university in Brazil, I was like a little baby. Yes, I had 17 years. No, sorry, 18. And the people there are studying was studying also petroleum engineer, but they have they had 24, 25 years, yes. And they study because they really want to study this career.
Okay, really nice contribution. Really nice contribution. Yeah, apart from the fact that when you reach the 11th grade like process of education here in Colombia, you have a lot of pressure, especially in the case of Mabel, um, Mariana, and Lisa Fernanda Oleu. You have like a lot of pressure because once you finish school, you need to immediately, right? Some parents don't even give you like a semester or something. You need to immediately start studying in a university, and maybe the change and the way education is perceived in a university is sometimes totally different from what it is in a school. So sometimes the change is like huge, and not everybody is like well prepared for it. I need to say that when I decided to study foreign languages and becoming a teacher, um, at least I had the idea that I wanted to be a teacher. Okay, I had the University of Pamplona and other universities. This is like a true story. And well, there were two options here in Pamplona, and one, to become a Spanish teacher, and two, to become a foreign languages teacher. I said like, Spanish is boring. I want something new to my life, and I decided to start studying foreign languages. The thing is, I didn't know anything, trust me, anything about French, and it was an education. As I was studying at a public school or a state school, education was so different that the change was so big that I literally crashed into the system. And I think that usually happens to most Colombians. And it's something true. We sometimes don't give the necessary time to think sometimes others, because that's the reality. And in Colombia, a lot, trust me, a lot. Parents put a lot of pressure on their children to study, or the teenagers to study what they want them to study, not what the person wants to study, but sometimes what the parents want you to study. And let me tell you, this is something you are going to do for the rest of your life, the rest of literally your life. If maybe your parents are not going to give you another opportunity, or maybe if you don't find the ways to maybe do something else. Okay, if you have the money, well, maybe it's easier, let me tell you. Yeah, but if you don't, which is the case of most Colombian people here, everything is like, we have to do it because we have to do it. It's kind of an obligation, and it shouldn't be like that. Okay, but it all depends on the system of education, and we're here to change our minds, right? That's why we're learning this. Well, it's less than a minute before this kicks us out. So I'm going to end the meeting, and please try to